Today, News 24 broke the story of how the Hawks raided my residence with an affidavit for crimes against the state, i.e. terrorism, because Minister of Police Senzo Mncunu didn't like a satirical video that I posted to my social media. So to be clear, Senzo Mncunu set the Hawks on me, the highest police force in the country whose job it is to deal with serious organized crime, raided my home and confiscated my cell phone in an expensive and intimidatory exercise. They triangulated my location with data from cell phone masts, which is A, very expensive, you paid for it, B, normally only used for murderers and the like, and C, completely unnecessary, because if they wanted to know where I was, they could have simply just reached out to me. They had a seize warrant for my phone and they confiscated it for 2 weeks. Why did they need my phone? And why did they need to send police vans and policemen, plural, a lot of them, to my residence in full view of my neighbors to come and get a cell phone from me? This was an expensive and an intimidatory exercise by our Minister of Police and a serious abuse of power. This is the type of intimidation that occurs in authoritarian states. I've been sitting on this for over 2 months, unable to talk about it, and today we are letting the dogs out. On the 29th of March this year, I released a satirical video in which I play a recurring character, a Czech criminal. My accent is poor, but that makes the humor more funny because it's so outlandish. And I began the video by saying, I'm involved in cash in transit, drugs, as well as hijacking. That, however, didn't seem to bother Senzo Mncunu, who somehow apparently took the video at face value. So he didn't have an issue with me saying that I was a criminal, but what he took offense to was the fact that my character said I had bribed Mncunu with 3 sex workers and a BMW for him to investigate General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the top cop of KZN. I posted the video in response to reports that Mncunu had instructed IPID to investigate Mkhwanazi. Subsequently, IPID came out and said, oh, there was an error, and actually it wasn't Mncunu, and it was an anonymous source that wanted Mkhwanazi to be investigated. So if you want to believe that, you can. More importantly, I said that I convinced Mncunu to investigate Mkhwanazi because after Mkhwanazi had come for the criminals, he was going to come for the corrupt politicians, including Mncunu. Which is exactly what he did over 3 months later on the 6th of July, where he had a press conference in which he alleged that Senzo Mncunu was interfering in police matters, which is something that I have experienced and can testify to firsthand. Senzo Mncunu is supposed to be investigated by the Matlanga Commission. He doesn't need to be because we know he is guilty of interfering in police matters. He admitted to journalist Karen Moore that he had set the Hawks on me. When I was in the presence of the Hawks official, he told me and my legal counsel that this was because Senzo Mncunu was upset and insulted by me and he couldn't let this slide. This is an egregious abuse of power and state resources, which probably cost hundreds of thousands of rands between housing the Hawks officials from Pretoria, flying them back and forth, using the triangulation of the mast. It cost us a fortune. Guys, in South Africa right now, our GBV rates are through the roof. Our women and children are being killed in their droves. The Cape Flats is a war zone. There are frequently mass killings happening in townships. There are tavern shootings. And yet, our Minister of Police chose to use our state resources and the Hawks to intimidate and try to scare an Instagram and TikTok comedian because he didn't like a satirical video that I made. So guys, I think you should share this video. And I think you should share the offending video that started this all off, which I've pinned on my profile, because we cannot go down the road of an authoritarian state which disallows satire. Preventing us from making jokes is the most un-South African thing you can do. In previous videos, I've said far worse things about John Steenhuisen, Helen Zille, Cyril Ramaphosa, and in particular, Julius Malema. And they were fine. They understood that satire is a critical aspect of a functioning society. So to those politicians who took my humor in the tone it was intended, I ask you in particular to stand up and get this guy out. My legal team will be pursuing this further. But public figures, politicians, and members of the public like you who paid for this whole thing are critical in getting Mncunu out and getting this to the desk of the public protector. In this country, guys, we have freedom of speech and we have the right to make jokes. And nobody, Senzo Mncunu included, is going to take that away from us.
I wanted to just give some clarity onto the timelines of when the Hawks raided me, and more importantly, how General Mncunu saved my bacon. A lot of my middle-class Instagram followers are unaware of General Mncunu, and guys, I would really encourage you to look into him. He is incredibly popular, predominantly with Black South Africans, and I've made numerous videos about him, but never did I think that he himself, General Mncunu, would be the one to save my bacon. On the day that the Hawks raided me, I was actually not in Cape Town. I was in the United States. I was staying with my girlfriend's aunt. Now, this was the first senior family member of my girlfriend that I'd met. So obviously you want to put out a good impression. And I wake up to 10 missed calls from my building manager. I thought, okay, the geezer's burst. I call him, he tells me the Hawks are here. It was a dark morning because I had to explain to my girlfriend's aunt, look, I'm a good guy, I'm not a bad oak, but the equivalent of the FBI has raided my house. Guys, have a look at this. This is stress-induced alopecia. Thank you for that, Senzo. Anyway, I got back to South Africa. I arranged a meeting with the Hawks on the 25th of June. I met up with them. They said, we have a warrant for your cell phone to prove that you posted the video. My lawyer said, can't we just make an admission that, like, yeah, we admit he posted the videos. I think it was either to make my life difficult or because Senzo Mncunu thought that I did have contacts who were feeding me information, but they took my phone. And they'd said, okay, if you give us your PIN, it'll take 2 days. That wasn't the case. It took 2 weeks. Fast forward to Sunday, 6th of July. I was lying in bed. I wasn't particularly happy with life. Hair's falling out of my chin beard. Suddenly I get a tweet from my brother-in-law. General Mncunu is staging a press conference. Ziyakhala. It was going down. In this unprecedented press conference, General Mncunu vindicated me and confirmed that Senzo Mncunu was involved in police interference and had criminal links. So he literally vindicated me and said what I was going through was true. 1 week later, Senzo Mncunu was suspended by our President Cyril Ramaphosa after a Sunday meeting. This would be a very different situation if Senzo Mncunu was still the police minister. I would have been sweating bullets. But now he's off, he's suspended, he's going to be investigated by the Matlanga Commission. Like a call from those guys, I'd love to be hit up. But life is chilled. And I owe this all to one man, my hero, my general, Nhlanhla. When I was forced to hand my phone to the Hawks, I looked the captain in the eyes and I told him, I have nothing to hide. And I don't, but there was a considerable body of footage of my on that phone. A lot of people have reached out to me in the past couple of days, and I truly am sorry that I haven't been able to get back to everybody. I've never in my life had so much attention, but I really appreciate it. In terms of how I am, I'm completely fine. But you know who I would like us to say a prayer for is the little Hawks technician nerd whose job it was to go through my phone. Bro, I know these guys are trained for traumatic situations, but I mean, guys, it's not just photos that I've got. Like, I've got videos where I like look into camera until completion, and I'm like talking, you know, like. You can imagine some guy at his desk probably trying to look for like my phone contacts or something. And I'm just looking at him, making eye contact, and I'm talking directly to him, to his soul. And I think that will have left a scar. And I actually maybe feel a bit bad for them. But maybe they enjoyed it. I like to think that maybe they enjoyed it. Maybe they themselves beat off to it. Who knows? Who knows? Life is a mystery. My lawyers have sent a letter to the Hawks demanding that they delete the mirror copy of my phone that they made. But
hello Mzansi, welcome to Mncunu. If today is your first time visiting this channel, please do the right thing and click the subscribe button, and also don't forget to smash the like button. This is a comedian, Anton, and he was exposing a minister of police, or singathi former, or singathi ini, because over some suspended former minister of police Senzo Mncunu kesana. Ngokuthi warida ekhaya lakhe wathumela ama-Hawks athatha ifoni yakhe bamsesha uthi lebekakhalela ukhalela ukuthi bekunengcombethi into lakhe langafuni tibonwe lapha njengoba sesimvile atikhulumela. But anyway, uthi njena uNhlanhla Mkhwanazi wamsita, uyasho nokusho ukuthi uyambonga loya baba because uyasadi usipani sakhe. Please do comment what you think below down on the comment section. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I am signing out. Goodbye.